Season 4 premiere. She remembered the story behind the SHENIXPWR Movement. Who is SHERO? Who is SHENIXPWR? And why do women across the world need to remember her? Before there was a movement, there was a woman. Before there was a podcast, there was pain. Before there was purpose, there was silence. Today, you hear a woman who speaks with conviction, who advocates with compassion, who leads with authenticity, who laughs freely, who dreams boldly, who travels with curiosity, who believes healing is possible, who reminds women to remember her, rise beyond, reign authentically. But what if I told you she wasn't always this woman? What if I told you the very woman speaking into this microphone once questioned her worth, hid behind a carefully constructed mask, carried invisible wounds, and quietly believed surviving was simply what life required? Today, I stand before you as the founder of SHERO Inspires LLC, creator of the SHENIXPWR Movement, veteran, mother, advocate, speaker, womb conductress, and a woman who has learned that authenticity is far more powerful than perfection. But none of those titles are where my story begins. Because SHENIXPWR wasn't created from success. It wasn't created from comfort. It wasn't created because life unfolded according to plan. It was forged through silence, refined through suffering, strengthened through healing, and reborn through remembrance. SHERO is more than a word. It is a declaration, sharing her empowering resilience openly. It is the courageous decision to stop hiding the chapters that shaped you and begin honoring the wisdom they gave you. Not to relive the pain, but to redeem it. And SHENIXPWR is what becomes possible when a woman stops identifying with her deepest wounds and starts living from her deepest truth. It is the journey from surviving to remembering, from remembering to rising, from rising to reigning. People often ask me, Honor, where did SHENIXPWR come from? Today, for the very first time, I'm taking you back before the movement, back before the microphone, back before the advocacy, back before the healing, back to the young woman who had no idea that one day her greatest pain would become another woman's permission to heal. This is the story behind the SHENIXPWR Movement. At this time, I invite you to grab that journal, your pen, some water, hot herbal tea, glass of wine, or a healthy smoothie, and be present and be ready to receive. Sis, this is the story behind the SHENIXPWR Movement. To understand SHENIXPWR, I have to take you back before the military, before the trauma, before the silence, before I learned to wear a mask. I was 19 years old, full of life, curious, magnetic, outgoing. I loved people. I laughed easily. I dreamed without limits. I wanted to travel the world, experience different cultures, and embrace every adventure life had to offer. That young woman wasn't naive. She was alive. She believed the world was filled with possibility. When I entered the United States Navy, I believed I was stepping into a future of service, growth, and opportunity. Parts of that journey were meaningful, but there was also experiences that changed the course of my life in ways I never could have imagined. As a young woman serving during the mid 1990s, I encountered situations that no service member should ever have to endure. Those experiences affected me physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. I carried invisible wounds. I reported what I could. I trusted the process. I believed I would receive the care and support I had been promised. Instead, I left active duty carrying questions, pain, and silence. I entered civilian life believing healing would somehow happen on its own. It didn't. Years became decades. I became incredibly good at functioning, good at smiling, good at performing, good at appearing strong. But beneath the surface, I was surviving. I poured my heart into raising my son and daughter, two miracles after being told motherhood might never be possible. They became daily reminders that hope can exist even when circumstances suggests otherwise. Yet, life continued to bring medical challenges, multiple surgeries, pregnancy loss, heartbreak, and moments that tested every part of me. Still, I remained silent until one day I became tired of surviving. Not physically, spiritually, emotionally. I became tired of carrying what was never meant to be carried alone. So I made one decision that forever changed my life. I broke my silence. That decision led me into counseling, trauma therapy, EMDR, deep reflection, hard conversations, healing. But the greatest discovery wasn't simply learning what had happened to me, it was remembering what had never left me. I discovered that trauma had influenced my story, but it had never altered my identity. As I healed, I noticed something extraordinary. Everything is connected. Our thoughts, our bodies, our emotions, our relationships, our spirit. Healing one area began restoring another. Slowly, the woman I remembered from 19 years old returned, not unchanged, transformed, wiser, more compassionate, more discerning, more intentional. The laughter returned, the curiosity returned, the joy returned, the courage returned, the light returned. And from that sacred remembrance, Shenix Power was born. Not because my story is unique, but because I know with every fiber of my being that I am not the only woman who has silently carried pain while pretending everything was okay. Shenix Power exists so women never have to believe they are alone. It exists to remind every woman that what happened to you is not the sum of who you are. Your story has value. Your voice has value. Your healing matters. Your life has purpose. You are worthy, not because of what you've survived, but because of who you've always been. People often say, there is light at the end of the tunnel. My journey taught me something different. I didn't wait for the light at the end. I learned how to dismantle the tunnel. And when the tunnel disappeared, I realized the light had been within me all along. Dear sis, dear inner Shero, it's time for a sacred pause, individually and collectively. Breathe in deeply. and then let it out. Did anything come up? Did you remember someone or something, or a previous version of yourself? Something you need to work on? Take that pen to the paper. Let them meet and write it down. Do not judge it, and let's continue to flow in love. So here's a call to awaken the SHERO, beautiful queen. If something inside of you stirred while listening today, don't ignore, honor it. Maybe you've spent years introducing yourself through your pain, through your diagnosis, through your divorce, through your betrayal, through your military service, through your loss, through your disappointments. But today, I invite you to ask a different question. Who was I before life convinced me to forget? What made me laugh? What made me curious? What dreams did I quietly place on a shelf? What parts of me are still waiting to come home? That woman is still there. She may be covered. She may be worried. She may be waiting. But she has never disappeared. Today, I invite you to awaken your SHERO. Not the woman the world expected you to become, the woman your soul has always known you to be. Remember her, rise beyond, reign authentically. Let's continue to journey together. If today's episode truly resonated with you, I would be honored to walk alongside you. Join our growing SHENIXPWR community. Subscribe to the podcast. Share this episode with another woman who may need to hear it. Connect with me through SHENIXPWR and SHERO Inspires as we continue to build a global movement where women remember who they are, rise beyond survival, and reign authentically. Because healing is powerful, but healing together is transformational. I stand here grounded, bathing in gratitude and pure love, pure bliss. Beautiful queen. Thank you for trusting me with my story. Just thank you for allowing your own story to breathe a little deeper today. This season is different. You're not just going to hear from me. You're going to meet extraordinary women from every walk of life. Women who have experienced heartbreak, healing, loss, restoration, reinvention, and remarkable resilience. Together, we'll discover that while every story is different, the journey of remembering ourselves is beautifully universal. Until next time, protect your peace, honor your truth, lead with authenticity. Never underestimate the power of your voice. And whenever life tries to convince you to shrink, remember, you were never created to merely survive. You were created to shine. Continue to remember her, rise beyond, reign authentically, and together let us dismantle the tunnel and become the light. I am Honor Parrish. This is Shenix Power. Welcome home, sis. And as we progress through other amazing stories, I want you to always ask yourself, what part of her story helped you remember yours? peace.